So this is, we're here because of a officer-involved shooting. This all started in the area of North Florissant and St. Louis Avenue just a little bit after 5 a.m. this morning. It was a two-man car. The officers wanted to pull a car over for a traffic violation in that area. That car sped away. This was a black sedan being driven by an African-American male. They sped in this direction, so this would have been a southeasterly direction from that location. About a block south from here, there was a traffic accident, single car accident. The person driving the car ran into some obstruction and then jumped out of the car. The officers pulled around, is why we end up here in the 1200 block of Clinton. The person had his hand in his pocket. He refused to take his hand out. The officer attempted to tase the person unsuccessfully, at which time the suspect pulled his weapon from his pocket and pointed at the officer, and the officer fired several times into the suspect's torso. The suspect has since been pronounced deceased at Area Hospital. Recovered at the scene was the suspect's weapon, was a loaded 9mm, and then also recovered at the scene of the accident. It was noticed that there were two different types of suspected narcotics inside the vehicle. The Force Investigative Unit is handling the incident. So I'll repeat it. We were a little bit after 5 a.m. in the area of North Florissant and St. Louis Avenue. The officers wanted to conduct a traffic stop on a black sedan, or dark colored sedan. That vehicle sped away from the officers. They followed. They traveled in a southeasterly direction to about a block south from here, where where the car runs into some type of obstruction. The person jumps out of the car, and then they end up, which is like I said, it's a block south of here. They end up in this block just behind me, in the 1200 block of Clinton. The person, as the officers confront this individual, the person refuses to take their hand out of their pocket. The officer attempts to tase the suspect unsuccessfully. The suspect then pulls his weapon from his pants pocket, points it at the officer, and the officer in turn fires several shots into the torso of the suspect. The suspect is conveyed to an area hospital where he has since been pronounced deceased. Recovered at the scene was a pistol, a loaded 9mm pistol, and then at the accident scene, which is again about a block south of here, there were two different types of suspected narcotics inside of that vehicle.
Chief, it looks like they were in close contact. Was there a struggle going on at this point? Because you're trying to tase them, I'm assuming they're pretty close together here.
Yeah, there was some close contact. Not sure exactly how close, but there was close contact.
Okay, and were the two officers involved in this?
There were two officers involved. The officer that actually did the shooting has been on, is 31 years old, has been on 13 years. The partner officer is 28 years old, has been on 3 years.
And the person who had pulled out the gun there and who is now deceased did not actually fire any shots, correct? Just pointed his gun at the officers?
It is our understanding that the person did not fire his weapon.
Chief, your thoughts on this? This is another one of these situations where it appears you have officers trying to do their job to keep the city safe coming under assault by potential suspects.
Yeah, well, it's a dangerous job every day, and the officers are trained to deal with the dangers that they face with.
It sounds like he was trying to tase him to subdue him at that point. Is that kind of how this unfolds?
Well, certainly. So the person just ran from an accident, from what they know at that point, and refused to remove his hand from his pocket. Of course, that's a very dangerous situation for any officer, and they started on the force escalation. Of course, it escalated into the shooting.
Chief, it looks like the scene's maybe on the other side of these buildings where we are, a block down there. It looks like there's a scene there as well. Were they chasing him through the townhomes here? Is there like a foot chase involved?
Well, it looks like what the officers did was pull around. So the person ran in a north direction, ran north, and they pulled around and then confronted him in this block just behind me.
Only one suspect?
It's one suspect.
Okay.
So there was nothing that actually had to do with the Bristol Place townhomes besides the fact that the person had run through there?
That is correct.
Thank you. What's the next step for the officer?
Well, naturally, the officer will go on administrative duty, and we will continue the investigation by the Force Investigative Unit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks for coming.
Chief.
Thank you.